Happy Tuesday! Today we are working on our reviewing main idea. Remember, main idea is a skill that we've talked about all year long, but since it's the last couple weeks of school, we are just reviewing all of the ELA skills we've worked on this year to make sure we're really ready to end 4th grade strong and move into 5th grade super strong. Alright, so in front of you, you should have page 4, 5, and 6 of your ELA packet. You should have your main idea anchor chart. You should have your main idea passage and your main idea questions. All right, so we're going to talk about our anchor chart, and then we'll read the passage and answer some questions. And we'll do it in an I do, we do kind of model so you can get some practice. And then after that's all over, you're going to take the quick check on Canvas. All right, we'll talk about that more when we get there. So let's look at our main idea anchor chart first. It looks just like this. All right, and let's read through it together. Main idea. The main idea is what a text or section is mostly about. It is the primary topic of the text. So remember, primary topic means the main topic, the main idea, the main point the text wants us to understand. The main idea of a text is supported by details. These details are known as supporting details. Supporting details help the reader understand the main idea. So look on your anchor chart, it has the main idea and then it has the 3 supporting details. When we talked about main idea this year, we talked about it looking like a stool, where the seat of the stool was the main idea and the supporting details were the legs of the stool. You couldn't sit on the stool without the details because you'd fall right off. You can't sit on the stool without the legs. You can't have the main idea without the details. All right, now let's read at the bottom. There are currently 8 planets in our solar system. The planets are categorized into inner planets and outer planets. The inner planets are the 4 planets that are closest to the Sun. Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are all inner planets. In addition to being closest to the Sun, the inner planets also have rocky cores and are smaller in size compared to outer planets. The outer planets include Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. These planets are colder because they are further from the Sun. They are also larger in size and they are more gaseous than the inner planets. Alright, so it says the main idea of this text, so the main point that this text wants us to understand. The main idea of this text is that the planets are separated by characteristics in 2 groups, inner planets and outer planets. The details that support the main idea are specific details about each group of planets. The main idea needs to encompass or cover everything that's talked about in the passage. It can't just be about Saturn because that's only one tiny part of the passage. It can't just be about Mercury because that's only one detail in the passage. It needs to be something that covers the whole thing. So, the main idea of this text is that planets are separated by characteristics, inner and outer planets. All right, so that is our main idea anchor chart. While we are working today, go back to this and reference this to help you. Let's move on over to our passage. We are going to read our passage and then we're going to answer some questions over our passage. All right, at the top it gives you a little box that kind of talks and reviews about main idea. So let's read that. Main idea is the big idea or most important point of a text or section of a text. It is what the author wants you to understand about the topic. The text will have an overall main idea, but texts often also have specific main ideas for each paragraph. So what that's saying is there can be a whole main idea for the whole passage, but then within each paragraph there can also be another main idea. So there can be multiple main ideas in passages that we read. Let's read about this. This is all about the government. The government of the United States has 3 different branches, or sections. This is sometimes referred to as a balance of powers, and sometimes as a separation of powers. It's a balance because each branch has different powers, but no branch is especially stronger or weaker than the other, just different. It's a separation because each branch has the power to act individually. It is set up so that no branch has too much influence over the others. Because they're separate, no single branch can have all the power. The founding fathers who set this up in the United States Constitution had just fought a revolution to break away from an all-powerful king, and they wanted to make sure that the United States would be different. Let's take a closer look at these 3 branches, their powers, and some of the ways that they can keep the others in check. The executive branch enforces the laws. The president is the head of this branch. It contains many organizations that help the president put laws into action and ensure that they are followed. These include the FBI and the Environmental Protection Agency. When Congress makes a bill that they want to turn into a law, it goes to the president. The president can either sign it or reject it. The branch that makes proposals for new laws and sends them to the president is the legislative branch. Lawmaking is their main power, and it's a big one. The president, however, can reject the laws they make. On the other hand, the legislative branch has some power over the executive branch. They can accept or reject many of the people the president chooses to serve in the executive branch. They can also accept or reject the people the president picks to serve as judges. The third branch, the judicial branch, contains the Supreme Court. The power of the judicial branch is deciding how laws should be interpreted. The judges on the Supreme Court are called justices, and they are appointed for life. This rule is meant to ensure that they don't have to worry about making people happy. They can just do what they think is right. All right, flip that over to your questions. Each question is going to need details or support from the text to answer. That's our text evidence. All right, we could not answer these questions without reading our passage, but they all are about the main idea. All right, I'm going to answer number 1, and then we're going to kind of go back and forth with you answering it and taking some time to think about it, and then me going through it and answering it for you. So number 1, determine the main idea of paragraph 1. So let's flip on back to our passage and find paragraph 1. It's the first one. Let's reread it, because can we really understand what we're writing about if we've only read it one time? Maybe, but that was a lot of information. So I think it's always best to reread it and then answer the question. The government of the United States has 3 different branches or sections. This sometimes is referred to as a balance of powers and sometimes just a separation of powers. It's a balance because each branch has different powers, but no branch is especially stronger or weaker than the others, just different. It's a separation because each branch has the power to act individually. It is set up so that no branch has too much influence over the others. Because they're separate, no single branch can have all the power. The Founding Fathers, who set this up in the United States Constitution, had just fought a revolution to break away from an all-powerful king, and they wanted to make sure that the United States would be different. Let's take a closer look at these 3 branches, their powers, and some of the ways they can keep others in check. All right, so I need to figure out what the main idea is. So what is the main thing that this paragraph is talking about? It mentions a powerful king, but that doesn't really tell me what the whole paragraph is. That just tells me one part of it. I know it talks about the different branches and how there's a balance of powers. It doesn't talk about the different branches yet, so that can't be the main idea. So for number 1, determine the main idea of paragraph 1. The main idea is that there are 3 branches of government in the United States to balance power. So it has 3 branches of government that are working together to balance the power, so not one branch has all the power. All right, that's our main idea. Number 2 says, which sentence would this detail best fit into? Explain the reason for your choice. The legislative branch has the power to override a president's rejection or veto of a bill. So that gave us a sentence that's not in our passage, and we need to decide what paragraph it will go into. All right, I know that I need to include a sentence, where it would fit into, where the sentence would best fit into, and the reason. So that's 2 things that I need to include for question 2. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a break in the video for a couple minutes where you're going to try and answer that question. And then after that break, I'll pop back on and we'll go through it. And then we'll do the same process for questions 3 and 4. so you should have had a little time to answer question 2. I'm going to read it again and then we will go through it and figure out what the answer is. So check your work with what I'm saying. Which sentence would this detail best fit into? Explain the reason for your choice. The legislative branch has the power to override a president's rejection or veto a bill. Well, this sentence is talking about the legislative branch and overriding a president's rejection or veto of a bill. So I'm going to flip back to my passage, and I'm going to find the paragraph, that's the word I was looking for, that talks about vetoing bills. So it says the legislative branch has the power. So which one talks about the legislative branch? Well, that's paragraph 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put for my answer that this sentence would best fit into paragraph 3 because the focus of that paragraph, or the main idea of that individual paragraph, is about the duties and responsibilities of the legislative branch. It would not fit in the paragraph about the judicial branch because the sentence says the legislative branch. So I need to pick the paragraph that talks the most about the legislative branch. Let's jump to number 3. Which sentence would this detail best fit into? Explain the reason for your choice. So it's very similar to number 2. We're going to need to figure out the paragraph it fits into and explain why. The justices are not elected by the people. Instead, they are appointed or selected by the president. All right, so again, I'm going to put a break in the video. I want you to go figure out where this is going to go, write your answer down, and then come back and we will talk about it. All right, going over number 3. Which sentence would this detail best fit into? Explain the reason for your choice. The justices are not elected by the people. Instead, they are appointed or selected by the president. So, which paragraph talks about judges and being appointed by the president? That would be paragraph 4. So my answer says this sentence would best fit into paragraph 4. I know this because paragraph 4 is about the judicial branch in which the justices serve. This fact about how justices get their position belongs with the other information about justices in that branch of government. All right, we need to think about which paragraph has the main idea about justices and being appointed by the president. Well, that's paragraph 4. So I know that that's the best paragraph for that sentence to go into. All right. Question 4. What is the connection between paragraphs 2 through 4 and paragraph 1? So how do paragraphs 2, 3, and 4 fit into paragraph 1 or make sense supporting paragraph 1? Paragraph 1 is where we get our main idea. So paragraphs 2, 3, and 4 are where we get our supporting details. So how do they all connect together into paragraph 1? All right, give that one a shot. Going over our final answer, number 4. What is the connection between paragraphs 2 through 4 and paragraph 1? Like I said, paragraphs 2, 3, and 4 are supporting details of our main idea, which is found in paragraph 1. Look back to question 1. We said our main idea is that there are 3 branches of government in the United States to balance power. So, paragraphs 2 through 4 are connected to paragraph 1 because they describe the branches of government mentioned in paragraph 1. So if you look back on paragraph 1, it talks about how there are 3 branches that control the power and balance each other out. So Paragraphs 2, 3, and 4 all talk about those different branches. Paragraphs 2 through 4 also explore or dive into that main idea of paragraph 1, that the branches were created to balance power. That's exactly what I just said. They're the different supporting details of paragraph 1, which we get our main idea from. All right, so that was us reviewing main idea for today. What you need to do is you need to get on Canvas and find the reviewing main idea quick check. All right, it's a Google form. You need to make sure you include your name and you click submit at the end, because if you don't click submit, then I cannot view your answers and give you credit for all your hard work. You can use your main idea anchor chart. You can use your notes if you want to. That is totally fine. All right, I just want to see how we're doing with main idea and how we feel about it. So then the last week of school, if we need to go back and review a couple things, we can do that. All right, so go ahead and take your quick check, and I will see you tomorrow.